I'm Annie Gishu, and welcome to True Life Stories, where we share stories of people from all walks of life who are making a difference in our community. People who have undergone great challenges and overcome them to get to where they are. Today we meet a woman who describes herself as a lover of humanity. She is a published author of 3 books, an inspirational speaker, philanthropist, and social change maker. Born in Zambia, Nkandu Belts is using her passion as a force for good, having come face to face with depression, isolation, gender inequality, and race issues. True Life Stories met with Nkandu, and this is her story.
I was born in Zambia, in a very small country town called Katete in the eastern part of Zambia. The first few years of my life I lived with my grandparents. So my grandfather was a commissioner for the community development, and then my grandmother was a head teacher. So you can imagine there was always education and a community focus. So my grandfather, he really emphasized on the philosophy of Ubuntu. And when I was young, I didn't fully understand what Ubuntu was. So Ubuntu is an African philosophy that describes the oneness of humanity. And the direct translation of Ubuntu is I am because we are. When we were young, my grandfather would make some food parcels, and then he would give it to me and my uncle and would say, can you deliver these food parcels to these households? And we would do that. And when we come back, I would say to Pa, Pa, why do we have to give food to people? And then he said to me, these are the poorest families in the community. If we do not look out for them, they will go to bed hungry. From that early age that I learned that, oh, there's sharing and then there's also caring for other people in the community. So some of the challenges that I faced, I would say it's the issues of girls would be considered to be second-class citizens. And if there's an opportunity for a boy or a girl to go to school, the opportunity will usually be given to the boy. And I was very much involved in trying to change the narrative. And I started by doing that through poetry. So I remember at one stage when I was whacked across my face for wearing pants. It was actually not pants, it was shorts, my little brown shorts. And I was asked to go and change and put on a skirt because I was a girl. So my father said to me, don't let anyone ever suppress your integrity or tell you what to do just because you're a girl. And I said, Dad, I want to do something. I want the girls, at my school to be treated the way we are treated. Because in my household, when we were growing up, there was no such thing as boy jobs or girl jobs. So I wanted that for the other kids as well at my school. So I would write the girl child poems, and these poems were mainly to, get people to think about the way they were treating girls. But I was given the platform to actually express myself, and I'm forever grateful for that. When we applied to come to Australia, they asked us, where would you like to go? And because it was winter when we made the application in Netherlands, I said anywhere where it's warm. So we were sent to Kununurra, and we were told it was isolated, we were told it was remote, but I don't think I had prepared myself for the remoteness. When we arrived, I was 38 weeks pregnant, and I had a toddler with me. It was really challenging because I didn't know anyone, and my husband had to go straight into work. So I found that I was slowly going down. Even though I had everything that I wanted, I was still not very pleased with my life. My husband, being a medical doctor, he referred me to somebody else and said, you need to talk to somebody else. So I went and saw another GP. And what was quite fascinating was that the GP was very quick to give me antidepressants. And then he referred me to a counseling service, and I had about 2 sessions with the lady. When I explained to her what was going on, she said to me, it's perfectly normal. You've had a baby, you are in a foreign country. She listened to me, and then she started telling me her story, and then I realized that actually my story is not that bad. I actually needed to change the way I looked at things and to be grateful that I was actually able not to work and be able to look after my kids. Being the only black person in some places in Australia is very challenging. The only narrative they know about Africa is what they see on the World Vision ads. So already people, they have put you in a box. And one thing that I learned, that in any area where you're not empowered, somebody else is going to disempower you. So I had to make sure that I empowered all areas of my life so that no one, can put me down. When I was in Zambia, I did a lot of, with the poetry. I went through that was the first time I was introduced to the works of the United Nations. And then we also moved to Botswana with the Botswana National Youth Council. So it became a bridge between, the community and the government. And then when I came to Australia in 2005, I was in Kananara and I decided to volunteer for Save the Children. And I found also that was one of the best ways for me to actually get over my sadness or depression. And after a few months, I decided to develop my own program. And then the program we started running, it was going quite okay. And then I got selected by Foundation for Young Australians as a social pioneer. So after that, I was given 12 months of mentoring, and that gave me access to funding and mentors and everything that I needed to actually set up my own business. So from there, I started developing programs for young people and then also programs for women in the areas of empowerment. I've self-published 3 books. The first one is I Have the Power: Unlocking Your Potential to Change the World. So this is a story, a personal story of mine from growing up in Zambia, Botswana, the Netherlands, and then calling Australia home. So it talks about the challenges and also the triumphs that I've had. And then the second one, Fierce and Fabulous: The Feminine Force of Success. This is actually a dedication to my mother. I went on this journey in Australia to find women in Australia, New Zealand, and United Arab Emirates. So who are these women? What is that feminine force? What's pushing them to go beyond, that extra mile to make a good living for their children? So the third book that I've written is Fierce and Fabulous: Phenomenal Women in Network Marketing. And the reason why I wanted to write this book was to tell the stories of the women in the network marketing industry, because this is an industry that has a lot of stigma attached to it and people don't take it seriously. They take it as a hobby. The meeting with the Dalai Lama was very interesting. It was really good. It's something that I had always wanted to do, and it was a dream come true. So I was asked if I wanted to be on stage with him. We talked about women's rights. We talked about how people use religion and tradition to oppress women and children. He's also very much supportive of, having that balance, in the world and coming from a place of love and compassion. So we had a very, very good conversation. How I met with Sir Richard Branson, I was actually invited to go and meet with him. It was really nice being in the same room, same presence with him, and having these, conversations on entrepreneurship, because almost everyone at the moment is an entrepreneur, but, are they really making profit with their business ventures? So how can we help more people? Because if you want to run a successful business, you need to make sure that, you're helping a lot of people. Some of the lessons that I've learned from meeting with thought leaders and also interviewing them is, one, having the ability to be still and know what you want, having a value on yourself, and also solving people's problems, because when you solve other people's problems, you're contributing to humanity. And also just having respect and love for other people, have an open mind, listen to people, because often we don't listen. We're very eager to share our stories and to talk, but we need to be able to listen and to be able to have integrity. So I started the High Tea with a Purpose almost 4 years ago now. I would go and speak in schools and run the leadership workshops in schools, and I found that there were kids as young as 8 that had the lowest self-esteem that I'd ever, seen. So some of the topics that we talk about is personal leadership, so getting the kids to think about how they can be the best leaders and make their own sound decisions before encouraging them to be leaders in their schools and also in the communities. The recognition and the awards that I've received, it's also a way of pushing me forward, to say, keep doing what you're doing, because, you're actually doing something right. The legacy I would like to leave with my children, I would say I want them to remember me as a symbol of possibility. I want them to know that, where they are is not where they're meant to be, that they can actually move forward. I want them to actually know that their past does not define who they are. But I want them to know that, we are powerful beyond measure and that we can do anything that we want when we set our mind to. That it's not about how hard we fall, but how fast we get up when we fall. My message of hope is that just do it. Do whatever you want to do. When you go out there, always remember Ubuntu. Ubuntu is not only an African philosophy for Africans. This is a global concept. And to understand that we are all connected, no matter our skin colors, our cultural backgrounds, our religious beliefs, we are all connected. When one person is suffering and we do not do something about that, we will all end up suffering. So let's come from a place of love and compassion. My name is Nkandu Belts, and this is True Life Stories.
If you'd like to know more about Nkandu Belts and the work that she's involved in, head to truelifestories.com.au. I'm Annie Gishiru. Thanks for your company.